We continue to whittle away at the official FBI narrative that Tyler Robinson was a lone gunman, fired a shot that killed Charlie Kirk. New video evidence has emerged from an eyewitness in the crowd off to Charlie's right side. If you're looking at it, it would have been Charlie's right side, but camera left, in the audience at quite a little bit of a distance, but not too far, with a telephoto lens. Finally, some HD footage that we can discuss here on the show, and it reveals something pretty remarkable. So again, we will show it to you and have a discussion about it. We have a lot of new details that emerged over the past 24 hours that we want to go over today. Joining me now is investigative journalist Ryan Mata. He's been all over this story, millions of people watching his coverage of this, and we want to kind of walk through this entire new timeline here and discuss what we have here. Ryan, welcome back to the show. Great to see you, my friend.
Always an honor, Clayton. Thanks for having me, and Natalie.
All right, so let's start off. Maybe we can kind of contextualize some of the official story here and where this is sort of falling apart. I mean, we can literally just go like right to the roof, right? And the running on the rooftops.
Yeah, absolutely, Clayton. So the video you guys are watching here is of the FBI video. Now, this comes directly from the FBI's official YouTube channel. So we know it's legit. It was given to us by the FBI. And if you notice the timestamp there in the top left, when that timestamp started, when the video actually first started there, it was at 12:23.34. So it takes him roughly approximately 14 to 16 seconds to get exactly into that position, which will be 12:23.50. Now, when we started to analyze this footage, it was Blake Bednarz who just first broke this footage, and he sent me this video, and he goes, "Listen, look at man." He goes, "From this CCTV video, from where the FBI is showing us here, you could actually see the sniper's prone position." So when they first zoomed out on that footage when it very first started, you could actually see the position where Tyler would have, quote unquote, been laying on that roof. And it was Blake who sent me the footage originally. And he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "check this out in the cafeteria view." So if you switch to the cafeteria view, you can actually see the man running across the roof, right? Really slow motion. You clearly see somebody moving across that roof. Okay, now the question is, when was he running? Now, there's another video I sent your team, and it's actually, you're going to start to see the crowd here. You're going to see the crowd, and the crowd's going to start to crouch down, okay? So if we put that into this slow motion feed that I sent you, and we scrub back and forth, you're going to see the crowd go up and down, up and down, up and down, right there. See how it goes? So you can see the crowd actually getting ready to sit down, and you move it back and
he's
forth.
already running. And he's already running if you look at the rooftop.
Bingo, right? So then we went out to the outside footage, and I said, okay, I'm going to put this in my computer, and I'm going to press play at the 8-second mark of this random clip I had on my computer. And when you press play, and you hear bang, as soon as you press play, and then I go, okay, I'm going to stop the video immediately when the crowd actually is fully set down, and it's 3 seconds, Clayton. So that tells you that from when that shot was fired, whoever was on that roof was in a full sprint within 3 seconds of Charlie Kirk being shot. That man on the roof was sprinting literally before the people that were outside could even realize that Charlie's been hit. I mean, he got shot right in front of them, and it takes them 2 or 3 seconds to go, oh crap, he's been hit. And they all start to go, all duck down at the same time. And that's how we know exactly when that person was running across the roof. So that was kind of like the first thing we kind of just started to discuss when I was talking to you earlier was like...
Can I just stop you there? Because this tracks with other independent reporting from Candace Owens. She tracked down the person who had filmed prior to the event saying, look, there's weird. That's a guy on the roof. That's strange. The person that they said they saw was in tactical gear with a different gun. That's what they told Candace Owens. And then the FBI says this guy was in plain clothes. So it would track that there's a discrepancy between that. And then one other thing that's always bothered me about that official FBI running across the roof is that if people duck immediately after and scream, we've heard the screams in the crowd, why are the people walking behind that building walking so casually? They would presumably have heard a scream and commotion just around that corner. So what do you think of those two bits?
Yeah, I'll start with the screams. You're talking about when the FBI shows us that video, there's just somebody just moseying through the parking lot.
Yes.
Like nothing ever happened right here.
Behind the tree. Okay. So look at the trees on your right.
Even to the left, if you notice in the left of that shot, right at the very beginning of that shot, there's just someone casually walking through the parking lot at the far left of the screen. You can see him, just kind of walking along.
Yeah,
you see the shadow.
And the people under this major, that looks like a big oak or something, or actually maybe deciduous. But anyway, they're not running, even though around the corner in the quad, people are screaming and running. They should have, by this time, got the notice and started running and panicking too.
Yeah, so that was 16 seconds, 18 seconds roughly after, or maybe 21 seconds after the shot was fired, that he's actually probably hitting the ground right there. The best explanation I can say for why aren't people, a lot of people go, how many kids are at campus with their headphones in? And they're just, you leave campus, you put your headphones in, and you're just going about completely oblivious to everything that's going on around you.
I'll give you that. Sure.
And pretty far from the quad, to be honest.
Very far. It's at least 145, 150 yards. So, and with the how that campus was set up and how it's so layered and how the sound could have maybe been, trapped in there. But if that guy was on the roof and fired that shot, you're talking about the firing, the bullet and the gun going off maybe 20 yards from you. I don't know, even with headphones, we heard how loud that sounded up close to Charlie. I don't know if the people in that parking lot, if somebody was on that roof and fired that shot and you're walking through that parking lot 10 seconds later, I don't know if you would not have been like,
what the heck?
Now, the other video that Natalie was referencing, we showed it here on the show, I think the day after Charlie was shot, or roughly right in that same. We showed the video of those individuals, two individuals pointing to the rooftop and noticing an individual there. That's a different roof line. And according to Candace's reporting, someone wearing tactical gear and a mask. And they actually witnessed a gunshot from that separate location. So again, this official FBI.
This person continues to tell Candace Owens that that was not the same gun, that it was someone who knew guns and recognized that was a different gun, and that the person they saw was not in plain clothes but tactical gear.
Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is where those people were in position. They were kind of parallel to the Sparks building. And I was talking to this with Stephen Gardner, and he went back to the scene, and me and him had kind of been sharing info and going back and forth. And he goes, man, these people are telling that Candace that they seen this man in tactical gear from that position where they were filming is about 535 feet from that roof. So then I think, okay, half a football field, roughly. A football field's what, like 900 feet? So at the 450 foot mark, they'd be a little bit farther than that. When you're in the end zone of a football field, can you look down and tell if somebody's wearing a mask or not and in tactical gear? I do think you can pretty distinctively make out a uniform and the fact that a football player has a helmet on. So if this person does have a mask on, I would say that Candace's reporting is pretty much holding up. And the most important part about that reporting is the time. So Candace got the actual timestamp. So in that video, when it starts playing, they're going, hey, we just watched this. Is he already in position? We just watched him run across the roof. She said that timestamp on that video is 12:22. So that would have been 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes tops before the shot was fired. So somehow this kid is running across the roof, lays down, gets in position, somehow controls his heartbeat, controls his breathing. I'm no expert sniper. I'm not even a gun guy, but I hear if you're 1 centimeter off with that scope, if that X is 1 centimeter off, you're missing your target. So somehow this guy is in a full sprint, runs across the roof. It's about 30 to 45 yard sprint to get into that position from where he would have jumped on the railing, lays down, gets in position, takes that shot. And the craziest part is within 3 seconds, somehow magically has that rifle in his hand and wrapped in some type of towel. So he would have had to stand up if it was quote unquote a towel and not a gun bag. He would have somehow had to get that in that gun bag and then get into a full sprint. But this brings us back to my main point is that we don't have that CCTV footage. If the FBI is the most transparent FBI in all of the Trump administration or the American history, then why would they release a video 3 seconds after the shot was fired? If you could just give us maybe 2 more minutes, you would actually show him getting onto the roof and running across the roof, getting down in position, taking that shot. So my question, go ahead, Keelan.
No, you're right. So all of those things, why just release the footage, FBI? Like, why cut off the first, as we pointed out last week on the show, give us that footage.
And can I just go back a little bit on that point while we're on the gun? We still don't know how the gun got up there in the first place. They're talking about how he might have hobbled up with it in his pants. We don't have none of that makes sense. We don't have a confession. We don't have a bullet. The case against him is weak. Go ahead.
And Eye Candy in our chat says, yes, it came over the scanner, the police scanner, that he was wearing tactical gear and a mask. So a separate police scanner confirmation of on camera or individuals witnessing that. But let's get back to the heart of the matter, Ryan, which is this new video evidence. And I think so. We talked about the inconsistencies on the Tyler Robinson piece of this. Now let's get to. I want to show some new footage here. So what we're seeing here is some new footage that was obtained. It was released yesterday.
Are we going to see the shot? We should warn.
No, we're not. Okay. So this is some new. What are we seeing here? This is like 10 minutes of footage filmed at a location, and I'm going to show just so you can see the vantage point. This is never before seen footage until yesterday that was just released. And the person filming it, I want to show this photo of where this vantage. So this person here with I think a pretty strong, like maybe a Panasonic or Sony camera with even like a boom microphone from that location. So can you tell us what we're seeing here, and then we'll get to the further close-up evidence?
Yeah, so what you're seeing here is this was a gentleman filming from quite far away. And what you're going to watch here is you're going to watch the microphone. I want your audience to pay attention to that little black dot on the top left of Charlie's shirt, because it's really important. That's what we believe. That looks like there's some type of explosion that that happens under his shirt right at the moment of impact. Now,
and we should say you're not going to see blood here. We're gonna stop it right after this thing potentially explodes, basically. So let's roll that footage here. But you're not going to see the horrible aftermath. We just want to warn people about that. All right. So this is the footage here. This is a wide shot. Puts the mic down, and now here's a closer version. So Ryan, what are we seeing here?
Go ahead. You're going to watch. I want you to pay attention right there. He pauses it. You see it pause, and you almost see like a cloud of smoke. There is some type of explosion. There is something happening under that shirt. And I want you to watch to the right. Do you see that? How like his neck, it was almost like a big gust of wind or something. Something happened under that shirt, and it blows his shirt right off to the right. And Hugh, you'll see it right here. Watch to the right, and then watch to the left on the mic. So you see the explosion there. See that air pocket? It was almost like some weird air pocket caused his shirt to shoot up like that. And at the same time, what you can't actually see in this video is Charlie Kirk has on that silver necklace. And if your audience remembers, we thought we were watching his earpiece get blown out of his ear, and we couldn't make sense of that. Well, according to Candace, that was his necklace. That was his chain necklace that you seen actually getting blown off and blowing over his ear. And now I have a chain necklace on, right? I have this gold cross on. How would it be possible? I thought maybe like the bullet went through his neck and you could see it protruding out the back of his spine. So I thought maybe that the force, even though the bullet didn't get through, it was just such a rapid force in the back of his neck that somehow it snapped the chain. But the chain breaks in the front. So how does the chain break in the front and then go off backwards over my ear? That was the one part I could never figure out. Okay, so we have the chain breaking, we have it blowing off over the back of his head, and at the same time now we have evidence that's showing some device on Charlie's shirt that looks like it gets detonated, and you see this huge puff of air blow up his shirt, while at the same time that was the first video that we seen where you could actually see like it looked like a little cloud of smoke, a little cloud of air. I don't know what that was, but it was coming out right from under his shirt, exactly where that microphone was.
Now, John Bray has been analyzing this, and let's just put up this post by John Bray. So first of this picture here, John Bray, based solely on my analysis of the two angles of the events on September 10th, I have come to the conclusion that this is the object that struck Charlie Kirk in the neck. Now, what is that? Now, it could be a DJI microphone or a Rode microphone, which is just magnetically clipped here. I'm just going to show you some footage I filmed a few minutes ago of my DJI microphone so you can understand what this looks like. So here's a DJI microphone. These are wireless lapel mics, and this uses a magnet. This is a very strong magnet here. It's even hard to pull off, and it just like clips on the shirt. So you would put that on your front of your shirt, and it just would clip right there to the back, and that microphone would be facing his mouth to pick up his speech and sort of any sort of ambient noise. But it's a really good, I think, omnidirectional microphone, right? You know more about this, Ryan, than I would, right?
Yep, that's exactly what it is. You're spot on. So in John Bray's reporting, he's basically went down and did a breakthrough of how you could basically remove a percentage of the battery from that device. Obviously, if you're a foreign intelligence agency and you have the ability to create and make all of these devices, we've seen it with the pagers before. He's claiming that you could have removed a percentage of that battery, and then you could have put a 2-gram PETN charge, and it still would have functioned and had no indication that it had been tampered with. And then there would be an explosive charge inside of that device, which when detonated, that's what would have either, I know some people are thinking that the magnetic piece went into his throat. I personally don't think so. I think that built into that little device, there was some type of charge that detonated, and that's what we saw catch him right there in the throat. That would be my best guess. But, you know, one of the things that me and Clayton were talking about is, you know, we watched the Turning Point team go and tamper with the evidence, and everybody was so focused on specifically the camera right behind him. But there was a camera right in front of him that was literally 6, 7, 8 feet in front of him at best. I showed it to Clayton in a minute ago in a text message, and where is this footage from Turning Point? I think at this point, we're all left with a lot of questions. We don't know how this would have happened. We don't know if it would have happened. We don't know if that device was anything under his shirt. But the missing footage and the fact that Turning Point employees were going there and removing memory cards from this active crime scene leaves us with a lot of questions. And if we know that they have those memory cards, I think at this point, we should be almost demanding that, this is Charlie's organization. Charlie was the biggest advocate for release the Epstein files. And then when Megyn Kelly's like, oh, the pedophile stuff, and Charlie's like, no, I mean, release all of them. Let the public see what these people do, release it all and give it to the public. Yeah. So we have an opportunity right here, right now to say, hey, Turning Point, like it's Charlie's legacy. This is his investigation. He would want more than anybody for everybody out here, especially the independent journalists, to have access to this footage.
Right. Well, those employees have said that the SD cards are in the hands of the FBI. So that maybe went from one questionable source to a even more questionable
the
organization.
FBI
right.
Okay.
So I don't know what to think about that. And then separately, Candace Owens has confirmed, because she's able to talk to people inside Turning Point and the crews and the sound technicians and things like that, that he was not wearing a bulletproof vest. And he was not wearing an earpiece. So we can at least rule those things out, because that's something that we had been.
Well, I was telling Ryan this morning, Ryan and I were talking this morning. I said, I use these DJI mics all the time. There's under no circumstances would I have an earpiece in. There's no evidence that he was wearing a pack on his back, on his pants, anything. So why would you have an earpiece in? So that thing that flies up makes a lot of sense to, if that is in fact his necklace.
Right. But what you're talking about here is born identity level, tampering with everyday objects and weaponizing them. It's almost too unbelievable.
We'll go to this, but
what else we can't? But everything is unbelievable. So we can even. I mean, it just feels so crazy. But we can't. There's nothing we can rule out.
I mean, it's not that unbelievable, because Israel pulled it off against, was it Iran, with the cell phones? We know that the everyday devices can be like on a large scale.
A bunch of people in our chat room are saying, "What about the pagers?"
The pagers.
Yeah, I mean,
in Lebanon.
Yeah. And those pagers were going off in London too. They weren't just like set to Lebanon. It was all over the world where those pagers went off.
Yeah, and one more part I want to add to this, because a lot of people are going, this is too big. There's too many moving parts. There's too many people that would have had to have been involved to cover up something like this. So I started doing a little bit of research, and somebody sent me a link for Werner Spitz. So it's Spitz, Werner, Werner. So Werner Yuri Spitz was born on August 22nd of 1926. He died in 2024. He was a German-American forensic pathologist who worked on a number of high-profile cases, including the assassination of President John Kennedy, the Reverend Martin Luther King. He also testified at the trials of Casey Anthony and Phil Spector in 1996 civil case against O.J. Simpson. So you mean to tell me that they were able to get that guy to work on every one of those cases, and we know there was a lot of funky stuff going on with JFK, Martin Luther King, Casey Anthony, and this guy magically worked on all of those cases. So I'm asking here now, where is the coroner? Where are the doctors? Where was the surgeon at? Where were the reports when they received him at the hospital? And who were these people? I think at this point,
what's
everyone should be
connection
questioned.
to this case now?
No, he's just yeah.
Oh, he doesn't have a connection to this case.
I was saying that, well, we have the same doctor that worked on all of these other assassinations. It was one doctor that worked on all of these high-profile cases. So I'm saying that if the people are going, oh, no, the doctors would have had to know. The doctors would have had to have been involved. And I'm saying, well, we have past cases where the doctors were involved, because that's what Ian Carroll said to me. He goes, dude, the coroners, they're always involved in this. And I go, oh, yeah, Obama's chef drowned in a puddle of water, and didn't Obama fly in his personal doctor to do the autopsy on that guy?
Right. I'm also very curious about the caliber of the defense attorney that Tyler Robinson will have, because this is a dream case for, a defendant, because the government's evidence is so paper thin, unless we get a patsy who's the defense attorney. So do we know that yet? I haven't actually looked for myself. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, we haven't yet. I thought he was getting appointed somebody, but I could be wrong. And one other point I want to point out, because you guys have been following this for a long time. You guys have been in the media for a really long time. When has there ever been a high-profile killer or an assassin or anything on this level where the media wasn't surrounding that person's property? It feels like any time that there's been a high-profile case like this, the media is literally camped out on the sidewalks out in front of these people's homes, just trying to catch an interview with the parents or something like that. I don't know. That's why I kind of wanted to ask you guys about that.
No, I think that's very interesting. It's also the same in Butler. I mean, there was a little bit of interaction with the parents from some local media. They were basically squashed, and then you didn't see any information about that ever again. And then when, of course, Matthew Crook's body was mysteriously cremated, or whose body was actually cremated that day, we don't exactly know. But and then wiped clean. There's no more discussions with them at all. So that's a great point. As Robert in our chat says, Robert Chatterley in our Rumble chat says, bullets do not create enough drag to lift a shirt. A pre-charged pneumatic from under the stage would, or perhaps an explosive device. But Ryan, I think we got to leave it there. But this is the new evidence today, the new video evidence. And as I said to you, or as you said to me, hopefully the turning points, that camera, the information that we have right there that was trained directly on Charlie, hopefully people will be able to, independent journalists will be able to analyze that footage. We know Candace has been able to see the footage from behind, but we want to see the footage from the front. It would confirm all of this. Plus, how many other people were in the front 3, 5, 7 rows filming with a 4K iPhone or an Android device or something, getting footage. So over the next few days, we are going to see more and more evidence coming forward. Follow Ryan's great work on X. Ryan, where can people find you on X if they have any questions?
Yeah, X at Ryan Madden Media. And please, guys, if you guys are sitting on footage and you don't know who to trust, I will keep your identity secret if you want to remain hidden. I have no problem with that. If you guys want all the credit in the world, I'll give you all the credit in the world. But please, if you guys have footage that we haven't seen and you think it shows any type of evidence whatsoever, my DMs are open. I'm literally going through every one of them. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Any more questions?
A lot of more questions, but I think that's what we got for today. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Great to see you, my friend.
Thank y'all. Have a great day. God bless.